Hello everyone. I figured that I would cut this out to make it a separate video so that those of you who are interested can see how I have my settings and my mod configuration, and those of you who don't really care about those things can just go on ahead with the story. So if you're interested, keep watching, and if you're not, just go ahead and skip this video. You're not going to miss any of the story if you don't watch this. So let's just start first with the general settings. Gameplay's pretty straightforward. I like to have a pretty high sensitivity, and I generally play on expert. This is with most of my characters. Once I hit level 50 or so, I tend to go up to master, but otherwise I just prefer expert. I haven't tried legendary yet, but who knows, that might be in the future for our character here. So that's that. Display. Did not mean to change that. That was about here, I think. Display is on the supposedly high settings. I had it on ultra high, but I got pretty terrible frame rates when recording on those settings, so I toned them down a bit. And I keep on the subtitles, both for myself, since I have trouble hearing, especially when more than one person is talking. I just don't understand the words, even if I can hear the voices clearly enough. So I always use the subtitles anyway when I'm playing, and especially for you, so that you can see, hear and see what NPCs are saying, even if I'm talking over it or if there's other noises that are making it difficult to hear. Audio. Mostly in the middle, but I like to keep my voice settings pretty high for the same reasons that I use subtitles. So those are the general settings. Now let's go into mod configuration. As you can see, I have a number of mods, and I will link to my mod list down below. So let's just go through these. Some of them don't really have any settings that are changed from the defaults, so I won't really be looking at those, but a few of those I like to tweak. So let's start with A Matter of Time. You probably saw that pop up earlier as a picture of the day theme, which is not what I prefer. And the offsets are all very different from the way I usually have it set up. So let's go with a sky dial. I don't like to show seconds. I don't use the 24-hour clock. I want to make this symbol a little bit smaller. So somewhere around 75% is good. And I like to toggle it because I'm also using immersive HUD. So I'm going to put it on the same hotkey as iHUD and give it an X. We'll be looking at iHUD a little bit later. I do like it in the top left, but I give it more of an offset. Not that much. I give it more of an offset so that it doesn't interfere very much with messages that come up on the top left. So about 75 and 75. I may adjust that a bit later, but these work pretty well for me. So that's it for A Matter of Time. Alchemy recipe stays the same. Bards and merchants, I don't think I have anything changed on that. I like to have it so that music increases speechcraft. My preferred instrument is the lute. I'm not going to change any of these. And I don't think I'm going to use any of the extra songbooks. I might use Morrowind or some of these Skyrim ones, but I'm not going to use any of these. Okay, convenient horses. Now this I do customize a bit because I like to use bound keys. So yes, bound keys, that's fine, that's fine. Okay, so I'm going to override the horse whistle quest because I just find that really annoying to have to go through with multiple characters, and it really, if my character doesn't know how to whistle, that's not something that I want you to have to go through her learning. So we're just going to go ahead and override that. Now, I'm going to use bound keys. F for talking and looting, since it doesn't really do anything while you're on horseback. Though normally that would move you in and out of first person mode. So since you're always in third person on the horse, I'm going to go ahead with that. Fast dismount. I'm only going to use that in combat, really, so we're not going to give that a key. Horse inventory. I like to use H for horse. And the follow toggle key, I'm going to use B, which doesn't really stand for anything, but I can usually remember it. Inventory access. This I'm going to keep on local for the sake of realism. I don't like the idea of teleporting to my horse so that I can use it as a chest. I'm also going to give a weight limit. I think I'm going to give it 1500, which is still pretty ridiculous. Normal horses aren't going to be carrying that much in real life, but then normal people don't carry as much as the characters carry in real life either. So I'm okay with having a bit of an unrealistic weight limit. I just don't want it to be infinite. So occasionally I'm going to have to stop and sell things or store things once I have a place to store them. I'm going to go ahead and toggle horse follow automatically to start. Then we can toggle it off and on as needed. Then horse armor, we'll deal with that later when we actually get a horse and see what is reasonable given our smithing skills and our income at the time. I'm not going to give any bonuses yet. I usually do when I'm playing, but I guess it'll depend on how long travel is taking. If it's taking so long that it's getting annoying to watch, then I might speed them up, give more stamina for galloping, but otherwise I'm going to leave it the same for now. However, horse protection is going to go to essential, and I'm going to use the screen fade. Followers, I will allow follower horses, and I'm going to use dynamic speed so that they can catch up if they fall behind. Then auto loot will be basic. Okay, so that's it for convenient horses. I have some of my mod settings written down, so if you hear me turning a page, that's just me going to where I have other settings recorded. I've got a little notebook here with some useful bits of information. So the next thing, we'll take a look at Dovahkiin Relaxes 2. Oh, I've got to go out and back in. Sometimes it won't load if I've been messing around in the screens for too long. Oops. Okay, back to mod configuration. Dovahkiin Relaxes 2. I use this. I've never really noticed any difference. My character has never started sweeping the floors when I had her well, other characters, when I've had other characters relax, if they've never started sweeping the floors. I don't know if that's because I had that setting on, or it just never came up. And I'm going to put this down, though I've never really used it, so we'll see if that comes up anytime during our playthrough. Dynavision. This one definitely needs some changes. So, using dynamic. That's a pretty good default strength, but actually I'm going to bring it down a little bit. Just a bit. And these I'm definitely going to bring down, because Dynavision is pretty, but it gets in the way sometimes. I may end up pulling those down a little bit more later on. The focus method, I like sharp. Oops, not soft, sharp. That's just for soft focus. And the dialogue, I'm gonna bring that down to 8. Those look pretty good for now. I think these are the settings I usually play on, so hopefully I won't have to change much after this. Immersive HUD. I'm not sure I have to change anything here, but let's just double check. This all looks good. Oh, I want these to fast fade. And I don't want any transparencies particularly. So as you can see, it uses the toggle hotkey X, which is the same as I use for A Matter of Time. Lanterns of Skyrim should be already set the way I want it. The defaults are fine. Let's take a look at Sky UI just in case, but I think this is all good. Yeah, nothing really needs to change here. The Dance of Death should also be the way I want it. No player kill move immunity. I do want the last enemy restriction, because I don't want to be doing a kill move and then have 3 more enemies charging at me while I'm stuck in that camera. That's all fine. Timing is everything. Now this is an important one. I am going to be making some changes here. If you're not familiar with timing is everything, this allows you to change when certain quests start and when certain events start happening. So this is very useful because Dawnguard and Dragonborn came out after most people already had the game and had already had a chance to play and get to relatively high levels. So when you're starting out a game, these quests really start a little bit too low, or a little too early, in my opinion. Especially if you're actually trying to do the main quest, which I will be focusing on quite a bit. If you're putting off the main quest for ages, then this is fine, because you can do Dawnguard and Dragonborn first. But if you want to do the main quest, if you want to focus on things like that, or the Civil War, and then you start getting vampire attacks and cultist attacks, it's really kind of irritating if you don't want to focus on those yet. So I'm going to put off some of these quests a bit. Vampire attacks, I don't know why they start at level 8. That seems pretty early to me. So I'm going to start those at level 15. And likewise the Dawnguard recruitment up at, I think, level 20. These can stay about the same. I'm also going to increase the minimum days between attacks, because really I do not want attacks every day. That would be very frustrating and very annoying, especially since I'm not planning on doing Dawn Guard anytime soon if I can help it. I don't want to get rid of the attacks altogether, because there should be some threat, but it's just too much at the early levels for what I want to do. And then the maximum days, I'm making that an even 3 weeks just because it makes me feel better. I don't know why. Okay, Hearthfire. It always seems pretty early when you get that first note on a new character, so I'm also going to put that up at level 15. Same as the vampires. It still seems a little bit early to me, just because you wouldn't really be doing that much to get a girl's attention in the first 15 levels, but that's okay. We're still not going to be actually buying land and building a house that early, but it's okay to get the letter by then. Now, Dragonborn. This is what's most important here, for a couple of reasons. One, because of the story that I have in mind for this character. I have a pretty good idea of when I want her to go off to do the Dragonborn stuff, or at least some of the Dragonborn stuff. I don't have everything planned out, but I do have some general ideas, and this I don't want to happen this early. Even with the minimum level, I want to put it off a little later. So the other reason I want to change this is because it doesn't make sense to me that these cultists would start coming after your character, the Dragonborn, before they formally get recognized as the Dragonborn. And that doesn't actually happen until after the Horn of Jurgen Windcaller. So we're going to set this here. We can leave the other stuff the same. And this will make things make a lot more sense, at least to me. So this is fine. These other random quests are fine. Yeah, that's fine. It should be level 22 by the time I want to do that anyway. So I think that's good for timing is everything. And the only thing left to configure is wet and cold. There's not a lot we have to do here, but I do want to add steam. I don't have any umbrellas, so I'm not going to add that. Yeah, I want the snow. I want the movement speed reduction. That's good. Let me look at this first. Oh, rain blind. This is one thing I wanted to change. I forgot about this. I think I want blur only. I don't want to have too much rain blindness because that gets annoying really quickly. But I do want a little bit for the immersion. And for the ashes, I think the watery eyes are pretty reasonable for that. And that's nothing we have to worry about right now. So I think that is it. Those are all the mods that we need to configure now. Other changes we will make as we go along as need be, especially when we get horses, because then if we get followers, we'll have to do things like fixing the horse armor, setting up the different horse skins for different followers, that sort of thing. But we'll deal with that later. For now, I think this is pretty good. So I will see you back in the game.